Well, it turns out that I'm partially correct. At least part of the problem is in these two switches right here that tell the deck whether or not there's a tape in place. They're not making good contact, and when they fail to make contact, the deck immediately shuts down. However, there's another problem. This pinch roller down here never comes up against its capstan shaft, so I'm going to have to go in much deeper to try and fix that. Well, at this point, either I'm committed, or I should be. What we've got here right now is the tape deck 1 mechanism removed from the front panel. Tape deck 2, its mechanism is still in place. The pinch roller, this thing right here, that was an easy enough fix. There's this little metal bracket down here that holds it in place right next to the auto-reversing playhead. I simply set it back down over its post, making sure to feed that wire on the end there into the corresponding bracket. Now, the only thing that bothers me about this is it doesn't seem like there's anything that holds this together other than good luck. I don't know if this deck was abused such that this part, that whatever held this in was forced and broke off, or what was going on, but the parts over in tape deck B seem to be the symmetry, exact symmetry of what we have over here. It doesn't seem like there's anything that holds this on. So maybe when this is all put together, there's just not enough clearance inside there for this thing to escape. And furthermore, it seems that this thing doesn't ride up when the deck is reversed and this pinch roller is pressed against this capstan drive. So I'm just not sure what's going on here, but for now, I don't have a better idea, so I'm just going to have to put it back together. Now up here, of course, we have these two wafer switches that I was talking about earlier. This one seems to be the one that tells the player that there is indeed a tape in this deck right now. They both have a little plastic nose sort of a thing, insulator type thing over them. I took this one off, which is why it looks so much clearer. And there is some corrosion on these, so they're not making the best contact that they possibly could. This one over here seems to work a lot more reliably, and I'm not sure what its function is, because it seems like it has something to do with the audio circuit. It seems like maybe it's taking the audio in and out of circuit, because with the deck powered, if I work that thing, I could notice something over here in the peak level meter. So I'm not sure what its function is, but while I'm in here anyway, I'm going to take its little plastic cover off and clean the contacts in there too, just so they're not going to cause a problem sometime down the road. One thing is pretty obvious though. This deck has played a lot of tapes in its lifetime. There was a lot of tape gunk on both of these capstan drives, and that was also true over here in the recording deck. There was also a lot of tape gunk on these pinch rollers as well. But I've cleaned them up. As you can see, I did quite a bit of cleaning over here, and there was quite a bit of filth inside that mechanism. Some really, really icky stuff. So now I'm going to try to put all this back together. Needless to say, it's a bit of a challenge because Pioneer certainly had a love affair with Litz wire and tinned connectors and fun things like that. I would not recommend this as your first project. Cut your teeth on something else, because it took me about an hour to get to this point. Well, as it turned out, the pinch roller had just enough space inside this plastic well that it sits inside to break free of its mountings. So I did the only thing that you can do when you can't win. I cheated. Basically, the way I cheated was to push the metal rod into its weighting supports, and then I folded them together to take the place of whatever had been holding that pinch roller in that had gone missing over the years or due to abuse or what have you. Anyway, with the switches cleaned, tape detection now works properly. The transport doesn't shut down unexpectedly. And I got all these stupid little tinned connectors and everything else back in the right place here. I still have a couple of things that aren't hooked up, but they're just the front panel switches, so it really doesn't matter. Anyway, with the tape in the deck now, if I turn it on here, plays just fine. It reverses just fine.
All you get is talk. At Sprint, $69.99 a month.
So, now all I've got to do is put this thing back together, and it should be as good as new. There it is. is, all back together. No busticated edges. No extra screws left over. And working perfectly.